I'm really excited to introduce tonight's guest. He's somebody that I actually met in relationship to how I've taught you earlier in the year how to meet people. We become very good friends. In fact, the last time I actually gave a complete webinar, I took the title of his book because I knew that he was going to be coming on as one of our guests. He's somebody that every time I listen to him, I learn 3, 4, 5 key things that accelerate the success. He's a person that's done there, been that. He's been there, done that. He's very successful. I love listening to him. With that, I'd like to introduce a person that I look at as a good friend, Jim Feldman. Jim, thank you for joining us, and I really am excited to listen to you tonight again.
So we all know what's going on with COVID and the pandemic, but most importantly, we're all working from home. We're all telecommuters. So today I wanted to share some of my top remote work tools with you. This is an example of just some of my clients that I work with. It's not here to be braggadocious, it's here to establish my credibility as someone who's been effective in instigating change in organizations as varied as the Cremation Association, to Kmart, to Audi, to the Ritz-Carlton, to the Department of Defense. We're in a place where shift happens. I coined that phrase almost 30 years ago. I had no idea how prolific that was going to be when I came up with the name. The world has changed. So as things were changing and COVID forced me at home and literally put most of my clients out of communication, I started to think about my next book. And the next book was something that I had in my head for a long time, and it was about how does Jim think differently? How is Jim able to see things that others don't see? And so in the book, I came up with, in essence, the mantra. The mantra was, this is a recession revenue rescue toolbox. Everyone, no matter who you are today, has collective characteristics. Those characteristics are shared. They are problems, and those problems are opportunities. The good news is we've leveled the playing field. The bad news is we've leveled the playing field. The question is, how are you going to get back up, and how are you going to become more effective in what you're doing? So, in essence, what everybody wants today is insights on how to get back to almost square one, almost to a point where you were pre-COVID 6 months ago. But the truth is, that's gone. It's never coming back. We now have to look at the reality that the world as we know it has shifted. And almost everyone that I know, talk to, read about, hear about, is looking to recover their revenue. And in recovering their revenue, that need is really generic to everybody. New ways to connect, new ways to provide goods and services, and new ways to increase or at least regain your revenue. So the first thing is, there's going to be a lot of information. Feel free to take screenshots. But the good news is the top 10 info tips that I'm going to give you, I've created an infographic which I will share with you at the end of the program. But don't be bashful. There's going to be things in here that will appeal to you. Grab a screenshot. So rule number 1, moving forward, don't confuse impossible with inconvenient. Everything's going to change, and it's going to continue to change. In the United States, in a couple of months, we have an election. And believe me, no matter who wins, shift is going to happen again. So let me tee this up for you. Let's say everybody goes to the grocery store. We all have the same ingredients. We go home, we work on coming up with a recipe. Question is, do you do something basic or do you do something gourmet? Remember, we all start with the same ingredients. but clearly there's a difference in what the outcomes are. So when I wrote the book, I decided that I would make this a blended learning book. And the book is really a toolbox. Think of it as a box of crayons. Everybody likes to have a box of crayons with lots of colors, but you only use a few of the crayons. Well, in blended learning, it's kind of the same thing. Some people like face-to-face. Some people like big pictures. Some people like to read. Some people like infographics. Some people like resources. My book contains all of them. So the book is available at jfa.tips/Amazon. I'm not trying to sell you a book. I'm trying to give you a toolkit that will help in your recession revenue rescue. Now let's start off with the link that Amazon provides. We've all seen something as ridiculous as this. All of us need a way to shorten that link. And so I discovered something called Tinycc. Notice that it starts off with http/, which we can eliminate moving forward. And I've branded all of my tips to start off as jfa.tips/. So if you're taking notes, write down jfa.tips/a couple of times and then leave what's after the slash blank. Now, as I wrote the book, I realized that nobody woke up this morning thinking they needed a new book. So I came up with a competitive differentiation, and that's coaching is included with the book. Now, I set a goal for this book of getting on the New York Times bestseller list. To achieve that, I need to sell 5,000 books. If I'm fortunate enough to do that, that's 2,500 hours of coaching or advising. I realized very quickly that I didn't have the time nor the interest in really giving away 2,500 hours of my time. So what I've done is I've said to anyone who is an advisor or coach, if you would like some leads, pick up a copy of the book. And the reason you gotta have a copy of the book is so that you can coach. Then you're going to send me an email saying, Jim, I'd like to be a coach or an advisor in these topics. And as the inquiries come in, I will farm them out to you. Farm them out to you because I'm paying it forward. Competitive differentiation and a social responsibility to help others in achieving their recession revenue rescue. Now, notice again the short link. What it also does, important to anyone who's making PowerPoints or websites, it gives me extra space to put in not only how to get it, but the information of includes one-on-one coaching. If I was using the Amazon link, I would have no room whatsoever. As we move forward, you start to think about, why is Jim doing this? I want to be as transparent as possible. I'm telling you things that work for me. And I use certain tools, and I use certain devices, and I am telling you I'm on an Apple. So if you're on a PC, they may not all be as applicable. They may not all be as easy to use. But remember, these are things that we use in our business. And I want to caution you as we spend a few minutes together, don't let what you think you know prevent you from learning something new. Look, we are all aware of Zoom. We're on Zoom. But look at all the platforms that are out there. These are all virtual platforms, and you know what? Some of them are better than Zoom. Some of them are more transparent than Zoom. Here's one you probably have never seen before. You don't even have to log in. It's all done through the browser. And it's relatively inexpensive. I'm showing you this only to give you an alternative to Zoom. If you're doing a lot of Zoom calls and you want to keep people engaged, you're going to love this one. What you do is you collect the names of all the participants. You upload them to the wheel of names, and then the wheel of names can be spun around to do a live drawing. It's free, it's fun, and it's engaging. So once again, remember, jfa.tips / is how I give you every single link. In this case, it's wheel of names. And what you're going to see very quickly is I try to make the / information as intuitive as possible. Now, because we're using visuals, we know that we have graphics, we have stock photography, you have charts, videos, etc. Sometimes you need a little help creating them. We all didn't wake up 6 months ago knowing how to create these, because in some cases you had staff, in some cases you had face-to-face meetings, in some case you didn't need them at all. Take a shot of this screen or write down JFA Tips PP Checklist. These are tips and tools for helping you with your PowerPoint presentations. If you, like most of us, have to use PowerPoint or Keynote or some other visual like Google Slides, you want to make sure that they're not boring. You want to make sure that you understand how to catch your mistakes, how to keep people engaged. So take a quick screenshot of this one and write down PP Checklist so you can follow up with it. Now, one of the things that we all love is photography. It is important to know that taking something off the internet does not mean you have the rights to use it. And if you happen to grab one from Getty Images and they catch you, they will send a cease and desist and a letter demanding a lot of money. But you don't have to take that risk. Unsplash, Pixabay, and others offer you free high-res images. I use Pixabay 3 to 10 times a day looking for free, royalty-free, licensable, commercial-free images, graphics, etc. If you've never gone to Pixabay or Unsplash, you will be amazed at how much is out there. Remember, do not take something off the internet. It may be copyright protected. Here's my secret sauce. If you hear nothing from me today other than VisMe, you will want to buy me dinner. VisMe is the most amazing tool to create better presentations, reports, and data. You see this little graph off here to the side, this infographic? Created in VisMe. See all of this? Created in VisMe. Try the free trial. You will want to consider upgrading because the additional tools are well worth the money. But start with the free one to see how you like it. This is how I create my presentations and my infographics. One of the issues I have experienced, like many of you, is that with people at home, I am getting inundated with emails. Maelstrom takes care of it for you. You set up a folder. So as an example, when Robert Butwin sends me an email, it goes into his folder. It doesn't get lost. If I don't ever want to hear from Robert Butwin again, I click on it one time and say, don't ever show me an email from Robert, and I will never see one again. This starts with a free trial. I believe the monthly is now $5 a month. Notice again, jfa.tips / maelstrom. One of the best things to have, no matter what business you're in, is video testimonials. They're a pain in the neck. It used to be you had to take a video, you had to upload it to YouTube, you didn't have people's permission. So Tell Us is a genius tool that allows you to use your cell phone to record a live video, have the person who just gave you that testimonial approve it, And by having a cookie on your website, it uploads in real time. So when I started my chocolate company, I decided the best way to introduce people to my chocolate was to give free samples. I give a free sample, then I say, how'd you like it? Oh, it's great. Could I get a video testimonial? Absolutely. And within a relatively short period of time, I had 150 testimonials. And if you go to my website, Tivoli Chocolate, that's all that's there. Because if you get that many testimonials, you must be doing something right. Again, so tell us. I love the service. I'm talking to you in a room that does not have a lot of fancy lighting because I'm using a Lume Cube. And Lume Cubes come in several different kits, but I just happen to use the little guy off to the left. It controls intensity and it controls temperature. You plug it in, it recharges, and it gives you about 4 to 5 hours off a battery until you charge it up again. Currently, I believe it's around $69. It comes with a sticker and a holder so that you can take it with you. And when I go out in the field and I'm doing my video testimonials, I stick it to the back of my phone. So I've got great lighting when I'm doing the video testimonials. So I'm using the Lume Cube with everything that I do in the field, and I'm using the Lume Cube for all of my Zoom calls. Certainly worth the investment. When I'm done creating my PowerPoint or my book, I create what's called a Flipbook. And this is just quickly the fact that I've got, 20, 30, 40, about 50 books that I've created that are all digital. And when I give you the links, you will see that all you do is you take your PowerPoint, you turn it into a PDF, you upload the PDF, and voila, you have a Flipbook. There's the link. If you go to SH Flipbook, you'll be able to see the Flipbook and how it works. And I've set it up so that you get the first 30 pages free. And then, of course, there's a way to purchase the Flipbook. Once again, using the tools to help monetize the message. As we move forward, we start to talk about, move that back. Let me move that back. It jumped ahead. There we go. Under the new rules, you no longer are bound by what you can give to a client. What I mean by the new rules are, who's going to know? So when I go see a new client and I get a face-to-face meeting, I bring them homemade chocolates. If I don't know anything about the client, I bring them a 10-pound bar of chocolate. Believe me, no one forgets who brought them the 10-pound bar of chocolate. Now, if I've been lucky enough to have a conversation with the client, I may find out that one of their favorite things is bacon. So as a chocolatier, I created bacon-covered chocolates and truffles. And so I bring a box of unusual chocolates as my remember what Jim does. He thinks differently. Notice I even include a chocolate chisel because the 10-pound bar is about 1.5 inches thick. Once again, should you want to get some, /chocolate. I can't tell you how many times Grammarly has saved me from pulling my hair out. Grammarly helps me write better, clear work documents because you can set it up for correctness, clarity, engagement, and methodology of delivery. So if I'm talking to the medical community, I can say medical. If I'm talking to business community, I can say business. And I sound like an expert because Grammarly helps me talk and write in their language. Grammarly has a free trial. Once you use it, you're probably going to want to upgrade to the paid version, and I believe that's $8 to $10 a month. How many of you have missed a webinar because of time zone issues? So if you go to jfa.tips time zone, you can put in the city you're in and the city they're in, or you can put in their time and put in your city, and it'll convert it for you. You can then set it up to be permanent and have a map. so that I know what time it is for my friends in Vancouver, as well as my friends that are in Tokyo. Here's my Google Calendar that I get from Club Calendar. As a speaker, it is very difficult to find leads. This is a company that goes out and scours thousands and thousands of events, and every month sends me at least 200 contacts for conferences, meetings, and other speaking and performing opportunities. It pays for itself time and time again, because if I get only one speech, one virtual presentation, it more than offsets their monthly fee. Club Calendar. I use a device called Umail. Umail is for my voicemail on my cell phone. It has caller ID, it has a call blocker, but most importantly, it allows me to customize voicemail messages. So if Robert is a frequent caller, it doesn't say hello, it says, "Hi Robert, it's Jim. Thanks for calling." Now, if Robert and I are engaged in an ongoing conversation, I can upload that customized message so that when he calls me back, I can say, "Robert, I've been trying to reach you, but I'm on a Zoom call until 9 o'clock CST. I'll call you back then." And you could see that it becomes a proactive, interactive tool. Again, the Club Calendar. I say it to you twice for a simple reason. There's nothing else like it. If you're a speaker, you ought to consider looking at it. You got questions? I wanted to get through this as quickly as possible. And the reason I want to get through it quickly is I know questions are going to come up. So the first question is probably, well, Jim, you gave us all that stuff. How do we get the rest of the information? And the information is very simple. You go to jfa.tips/tools, and it will download for you.